Ready? Ready? Okay, ready? I just learnt this. Can you hear this?
Chris.
Can you hear my guitar?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here's a thing I just learned right this second.
Hey.
I learnt it.
Nice. Hey, welcome everybody to the 25th anniversary of Empire Records, the movie. Rex Manning Day is on. You might be wondering why these two random Antipodeans are on a screen with all of these other amazing people. My name is Sarah. This is Chris.
Apparently, what happened to my visuals?
What are you doing?
It was all good. Guys, everything was fine until we went live, and now it is gone. We knew it was going to be tricky, and here we go, sorted it out.
Okay, great.
Hi, my name's Chris. We are live from New Zealand.
Yeah.
And about a couple of years ago, we had an idea of starting a podcast where we discussed Empire Records. And for some reason, we're now in contact with a lot of people from that film, and we're doing this today. So we're very excited.
Which is blowing our minds. You don't expect to watch a film when you're 14 and then 20-something years later be doing this. But here we are in quarantine, joined by some really special people today. So if everyone wants to jump on their video chat, we might do a quick whip around and welcome everyone. We've got Craig, who was the male Rex Manning fan from the film, and also you were like an assistant who ran around a whole bunch of stuff, production assistant, is that right?
Production assistant, that's right, yep.
Yeah. So we're going to be picking Craig's brain a little bit later because you have a lot of never before heard stories from behind the scenes. Yeah, some wild, as you put it. Carol Heikkinen, we really probably should have started with you, Carol, because without you, there would be no Empire Records, the creator and the writer of the film. Thank you so much for pulling this together.
Thank you for doing this. You guys have, thank you.
It's so exciting. We're so excited.
And we're going to pick your brain in a second. And also, we've got a little competition that Carol's going to judge, so we'll explain that in a sec. Jason Feinberg is here. He's with the sexy Rex Manning Day backdrop.
And t-shirt.
So good. Jason is our technical wizard, so if something goes wrong, you can send him. No, don't abuse him. Don't do that.
We'll abuse him.
No. But Jason's going to be helping us out. And actually, we might cross back to Jason as our beautiful assistant later because he's got some goodies for us. Are we gonna get our other guests to jump on now? I'm trying to figure out if he's
this is amazing.
There we go.
It's Buko!
Hey kids, how you doing?
Here.
Coyote Shivers is here.
Yes. I'm here at the Oval Office, just hanging out. So we dropped in to say hi.
Could you sort all this out then? If you manage to make it there, can you just maybe you take over? Coyote for president.
Yeah.
Coyote for president.
You piss off a lot more people than the current president, but yeah. Thanks.
You wearing a Hugh Hefner jacket? Is that what's going?
What this? Oh, this is my Hugh Hefner in the Oval Office look.
I love it. I
That's
love
great.
everything about it.
It seems massively appropriate for some weird reason.
So yeah, carry on. Hey kids, how you doing out there? Happy virtual Rex Manning Day. Happy 25th.
Burko/Coyote, because I'm going to be calling
especially happy. I'll start off by saying happy Rex Manning Day to all my friends in Hawaii. I should be in Honolulu right now. They have a Rex Manning Day celebration at the Equus Hotel in the Panayola Bar downstairs. So to Mariah and Matt, DJ Triple Bypass, Diane Love, all those people out there. Hi, I'll see you in September. Instead, I'm here at home in the Oval Office.
And how good is it to be together celebrating this day? And everyone's dressed very, very nicely for the occasion, which I like. I appreciate.
Yeah, they are. I actually decided to pull out 90s dungarees, but I do have buttons, if you can see. Can you see?
Yeah, that's awesome. What do they say? What's that one?
Stupid. And damn the man saved the empire. And I also have not on Rex Manning Day, but it's blending in with my buttons background. So, and I have this. Yes.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
You can't really see it because there we go.
And with my girl crush on the back.
Love it.
Like a locket, like a lame 90s locket.
Who's your girl crush?
Well, when I was a teen girl.
Oh, your teen. Yes, right.
Yeah.
Who was Ethan Embry?
It was Ethan Embry. Who else?
You were in love with Ethan Embry.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Really, it was quite problematic, to be honest. But anyway, that's okay. Enough about my teenage hormones. We've got a lot planned. So some people are going to jump out and jump back in. Haley is one of our very helpful friends who's going to be whittling away in the background, going through any comments on YouTube. So if you have any questions for any of our guests that you want us to post to them, please put them in the comments and we will get to them. If you have any fan art or photos of you in costume or tattoos or anything like that you want to share with us, share it on your social media using the hashtag Rexstravaganza.
Love it.
Much like the website we're on. Do you want to try and spell that, Chris?
Yeah, I will be honest. I tried to go to that website like 3 times this morning. I was like, it's just not working. There's an S in there, people. There is an S. REXS.
Extravaganza.com. Yeah.
Yeah. That was
so
confusing.
use that hashtag, and Haley's going to be going through those as well. And a little later on, we're going to be checking out some fan submissions, and we will have prizes to give away as judged by the amazing Carol Heikkinen. Thank you very much.
Well, why don't we start talking to Carol, and the rest of you can all, as we say down here, bugger off.
Yeah.
I'll see you in a bit.
See you in a bit. See you soon, guys. Okay, Chris, you kick us into things.
Okay, well, we are here. We are 25 years after the fact, which is fairly exciting. When this is the first this is the first movie that you ever wrote. This is the first thing that you had made, or was this something you'd done before?
It's the second movie I had made.
What was the first?
It's called The Thing Called Love.
Okay.
Country music, also, yeah. I wouldn't even say that has cult status, but it's a small audience. And that was directed by Peter Bogdanovich. So that was.
Is that River Phoenix? River Phoenix is in that, yes?
Yeah, River Phoenix is in it. Yeah.
Right. And you wrote this basically kind of based on your time working at a record store, right?
Yes. I had worked at Tower Records in high school and in college. All of my sort of hourly minimum wage jobs were in record stores, video stores, actually. I was actually, I wrote about the record store because that was cooler, but I worked in video stores, mostly Tower Video.
Yeah, it is kind of cooler being in the record department than in the video department, but yeah. We'll all pretend that you worked in the record area.
I've been doing that. Not correcting people.
You get a lot of, actually, I might just share some tweets that I know.
Cheers, everyone. You can see me, by the way.
Why are you still here? You should not be on screen right now.
Coyote hanging out doing. Okay, great.
I like it. I like the chaos.
I'm going to share some stuff to a screen when we talk about this, because when you talk about working in a record store, Carol, a lot of people are kind of funny on the depiction of what it's like. And some people really relate. And a lot of people, I think, really wanted to work in a record in this film. But then some people, what we call in New Zealand, real dicks about it. So let me just figure out how to share these tweets. Okay, so we just cut to these. I worked at a record store in the 90s and it was nothing like I feel ripped off. We've got another one. I worked in a music store for 5 years. It was nothing like Empire Records. Like, you were crushing people's dreams, Carol.
Yes. Yeah. I do feel kind of bad because it really was just Tower that had that sensibility, that, yeah.
And this is it. You've got someone here.
There you go. Thank God for Molly.
Yeah, Molly had your back.
Is the hero of Empire Records Twitter on that topic, because which I discovered Empire Records Twitter a few years ago. I didn't know anything was going on there at all, and then I had an egg, and so once I got a profile and I started periodically checking it, so that was one of the things that I found recurring, was people saying, it's not realistic, or they ended up working at a Sam Goody, that's Music Town. That's not Empire. Yeah.
And this is it. And what do you say to those people when they're on Twitter slagging it off, saying this is just fantasy land?
Mostly I don't answer, but there is one thing. Some people will complain about how many people are working in the store that day. And some people will say there's too many people in the store that day. And some people will say nobody's working in the store, which both are kind of true. But what I will usually do, I have done this before, I have tweeted people back and told them each character's shift. I said, Lucas is off the clock for obvious reasons.
Right.
AJ is working a double shift.
Mm-hmm.
Corey's got sort of mid shift because she came in too early because it's Rex Manning Day, but she starts maybe 11 o'clock. And yeah, we've got your closers. I at the time I could remember very well, like signing in on the sign-in sheet and everything, and how long the shifts were, and half an hour break and all that. So I knew everybody's shift when I wrote it.
Yeah, I think we went through it on the podcast on Empire Records. I think we did that at some point and figured out exactly who was supposed to be working and when, and it all lines up. But there does seem to be a lot of time when there's like, we often did a tally of let's see who's actually working in there, and occasionally there was maybe one, and it's a big maybe.
No one's covering the register.
Exactly.
Yeah. Although when Mark is covering the register by himself, that was actually one of the things that was based on something that happened to me, which was I worked at the Tower Video on Sunset Boulevard one summer, and 2 doors down it's now the Viper Room, but at the time it was called the Central. And one of our coworkers was in a band and she was playing there. And so everybody left, and me, because that was like a rock and roll Tower Video. And so me being the least rock and roll person there, I was the only one taking returns. And so I had a line out the door, and I was like, everybody deserted me. So that's how Mark felt during the funeral. He would have rather been where everybody else was, but.
The question that I'm guessing you must get a lot, because the characters are so great, are they based on people that you actually worked with and knew when you're working at Tower?
Not personality wise, no. I took some names. Burko was the guy that I worked with. Corey, I don't know if you grabbed the photo that I sent you of real life Corey and movie AJ, because they actually met up a few years ago, which was very sweet.
Amazing.
She was a girl who was an acquaintance of mine through a coworker at Tower. And but I had never known a girl named Corey, and I thought it was a cool name, so I took her name.
Yeah, I don't think I know a girl named Corey. I don't think I've met anyone named Corey.
Yeah, I thought it was unusual at the time. So.
It's a beautiful name, but Burko is less of a beautiful name. But that was a real person.
Yes.
The name, but not the character. Oh, here we go. Here's your.
Sorry, take me a minute. So this is real life Corey. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. Look how beautiful she is.
Oh, she is. Wow. And actually, because I honestly thought that was a fan dressed up as Liv Tyler, but that's real Corey.
That's real life Corey.
Cool. And Burko. So there was a real life Burko. How similar was he to Coyote's Burko?
Maybe personality wise a little. He wasn't, I don't think he plays guitar. He's in the music industry now. But he's not much on social media, so I don't keep track of him very well.
That's fascinating.
I'm good friends with his roommate. So someone I worked with at Tower, over 25 years ago, I'm still good friends with. So
that's Burko.
That's the real Burko?
That's Burko. Only Burko had hair like
now. That's him now.
That's him now.
You look nothing. Do you, can we do a little quick bit of myth busting? I noticed you tweeted about it today, because there has been this thought for a while that Rex Manning Day, April 8th, is because it was the day that Kurt Cobain was found. But you call no on that.
No, I don't like Easter eggs. I don't like secret little connections that people have to ferret out. This is something where I am happy that people looked at the flyer and saw that it's April 8th, because that's nice. It's turned into something. But that was just setting. That's just the set dressing. But yeah, I would not have done that. And so I was able to find this came up, a little while ago before on Rex Manning Day. And so I was able to find a PDF of the first draft, and you can see that it's dated February of 1994. And on the very first page, I had put that it would be a title, and that it would actually say on screen that it's Saturday, April 8th, 1995. So Kurt Cobain was alive at the time that I picked that day.
Oh, there we go. Here's the first draft, which this is a fascinating thing that you let us see.
Yeah.
It's a few little things.
It's not Empire Records.
It was called Empire until they made the poster. It was Empire the whole time we made it.
So you obviously wrote this. What you're saying is you wrote this before anything happened with Kurt. So this was always just happenstance, basically.
Yeah.
Sorry, 1 second. We have some questions from the viewer. Shall we jump into some of that?
Yeah, do it, Chris.
Okay, where's Haley? Haley, come here. Quickly now, Haley. Quickly now.
Hi, Haley.
Hi, Haley. Now, Haley, you have a couple of questions that have come from the viewer.
Yeah. Someone wants to know, why did you call it Empire Records?
I think it was, I think I was trying to find something that would be analogous to Tower. And I actually had written it as a chain. There was no Music Town in the first draft. It was because the thing about Tower as a chain is each store is different. Each store has an in-store artist.
Yeah.
And so I wrote it. So I was really just trying to find something. And the reason I called it Empire instead of Empire Records is because if you worked at Tower, you didn't call it Tower Records. You just called it Tower. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Okay. Another question.
Yeah.
Where did the phrase "damn the man" come from?
I don't think I made it up.
Yeah,
I don't think I made that up. I think I had heard it. It's one of those things. There's a couple things that get attributed to me that I was just basically quoting somebody else. And when Lucas says, "I don't regret the things I've done, but those I didn't do," I didn't write that. I heard that as a kid. So I don't know. I think it's something my dad used to say. So,
it's such a philosophical statement. It's so grand.
But I wasn't pretending that I had written it for Lucas. Lucas was, just saying that, that's out there. And I felt the same way about Damn the Man. Although I do feel like it is one of the more, it's something that's more identified with, Empire Records is more identified with Damn the Man than anything else I can think of. So
100%. Yeah. I mean, that is the main catch cry of the movie.
Oh, 100%. Other than maybe yelling shoplifter. Just really, it's the only other one I can do. Haley, should we do one more question for Carol?
Make it a good one.
I didn't ask them.
Haley's under enough pressure, Chris.
I know, there's so many tabs open. Okay.
Haley got this job yesterday.
I know in the original script it was set in Vegas. How did it move from Vegas to Atlantic City, New Jersey?
I had said it in Phoenix. And so, yes, you're right. It was the escape with the money was to Vegas. I said in Phoenix, and it was really just location. It's like and I think Alan Moyle happened to go through Phoenix, and
Coyote's moving furniture.
If you could, I don't want to do it silently. That would be good.
I can. I'm gonna mute him.
Sorry.
I think Alan had driven through Phoenix and decided that that wasn't the look that he wanted. I liked it in terms of, I saw it as like a sort of, I grew up there and it's like a parking lot. I just picture it as like when I, back in the 80s, just hot, dry parking lots, and so that was the look. I mean, if you look at things like Richard Linklater does, how it's got that Austin feel, but there's nothing glamorous about it. And I think that, once it got sold to a studio, it was going to have a little bit more of like a fictional sheen to things. It's not too bad. I think, it retains, like Molly from Tower says, some of the realism that was in there. But yeah, it's not as sort of grungy in a way as my first script. So anyway, that's why they had to choose a different location. And I think it looked more like East Coast. So they changed Vegas to Atlantic City.
Yeah. Thank you, Haley. Thank you, Haley. That was a very good question. Thank you. We'll get you back in later for some more viewer questions. But that does lead us into something kind of interesting, is the changes that happen from script to screen, right? Mm-hmm. Is there a few notable changes that people might not be aware of? This is not something that I did not make the change. I never had Corey wanting to lose her virginity at work. Right.
That's I mean, things like that, I guess you get away with in a movie, but that's crazy. That's crazy. Who does that?
Yeah.
What kind of girl who's smart enough to get a full ride to college wants to go in and lose her virginity at work? So that I did not write. and there's just a lot more dancing. So I feel more like it was a lot of things that were taken out. And I haven't seen that extended edition in quite a while, so I don't know what they put back in, but it was more things that were taken out and replaced with scenes of people dancing.
Right.
And I had people dancing twice in my script.
Oh, well.
Well, we like the dancing.
But they really pumped that up quite substantially.
Yeah,
I think
it's fun to see dancing in movies, but these kids dance at the drop of a hat. I mean, Coyote might, want to talk about this, because Coyote would apparently, I've heard him say,
I did not like dancing.
Yeah, that he would purposely just like walk backwards slowly, like that Howard Simpson's.
It's totally, the Homer Simpson thing. Yeah, as soon as they start talking about dancing, I would just be like, my character is in that smoking right now. Just fade off into the bushes.
Actually, on that, this is a good time to bring Coyote in. Should we bring Coyote into the chat now?
Yeah. Well, I do have a question about. Yeah, let's bring Coyote in.
Yeah.
And as is coming, though, the
Somebody
game.
call?
No, you're good. Sit here. Down. Hey, join us, please, Mr.
Oh,
President.
all right. Yeah, sure.
Tell me when to leave. Kick me out when you need to.
No, you're good. You're fantastic, and you're a treasure.
You're fantastic, Chris.
Did you invent the M&M game? Was that something you guys used to play at Tower?
Oh, I did invent the game. Yes.
That's so cool.
No, but there was something about the CD, because we had, and this used to be embarrassing because it really aged me to the teenager in the 80s, but we had the record player in the video department when I worked in Phoenix. It was all in one store. And so we actually had vinyl, and the video employees technically had control over what went on next, and employees would stack it up. And so there was one guy, every shift, he put in the stack, he put Dio.
Yeah.
And so we were listening to the same side of the same Dio record every day. And I don't know how current it was, because I'm not a big follower of Dio. And so somebody got tired of that particular side of that particular record and scratched it up. So that's where I got AJ destroying.
That's great.
Yeah,
great. That is great. So that's hence veto, right? Like that's why the veto exists.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now onto a Burko related question.
Yes, I'm here. I never had a chance to light a joint in the Oval Office before, so
I love the idea of that.
Great.
Keep going. I can hear you though.
Okay, great. We just watched the extended cut for the first time, and we see where Burko lives.
What? Really?
Yes.
Yeah, you come out of like the side door of the store.
Yeah,
that's right.
Was that in the original script?
Nope.
What's it say?
No, that's.
I liked it.
Have you seen the extended version of the film, Coyote?
I think I saw it once. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm the same. I watched it once.
And I don't know why I'm asking, because you acted it, so you were there at some point. But you know how you emerge from this shit? You've got like a blanket and your guitar and a coffee, and this door swings open out the back of Empire Records, and it's like you live.
Oh, it's like there's like a little hut back there or something. Yeah. Yes.
Is that what it is?
Is that one of what?
In your mind, your character's living in a little shed?
Yes, that was sort of the idea. There was a little shack outside the back that Burko was crashing in. And I don't know if it was edited in the film or not, because I don't watch it that closely, but that's where when Deb shows up on her little motorcycle or whatever, when he witnesses her sort of coming in through the back door that way, he sort of sees her from him sitting there out hanging out playing guitar. I don't think that part was in there, but
yeah, that was in the extended cut.
It's kind of a nice little thing that they add. They added some little things like that. I mean, it's supposed to, I'm sure, make it feel more like a family. And it's people's homes, and it's literally Burko's home.
Well, Sarah made a good point that it's another little feather in the cap of Joe just looking after kind of hopeless kids.
Right. Yeah, completely. And so his band needs to get off the ground so he can live in. Actually, Craig has weighed in. Craig, our Rex Manning fan, who was also an assistant, production assistant. That it was a bus that Burko was living in out in the back.
Craig would know, yeah.
Craig knows everything.
Save some of these detail questions for Craig.
Of course.
Okay, yeah. Question for you, Coyote. Did the actors hang out together a lot during shooting? Somebody has asked.
Oh yes, yeah. I mean, we were there for like 2 or 3 months on these condominiums on the right. That was actually the best part of it. Was that we all had these beach houses on the beach, and there was dolphins swimming there, you know, at night sometime, and took boats out, and we had all sorts of fun.
So a bit of partying?
Bit of partying.
Yeah, a lot of that. Yeah, actually. I did this thing. I think I told this story somewhere else one time too, where just to freak out everyone else on the set, I went and bought a bunch of red light bulbs, and then every day I would switch out one, because they were all on the beach and you could see them glowing as you walked along the beach. So I took out one normal bulb every day and put it in a red one in place of it. So that slowly over the course of a couple of weeks, my entire condo just sort of glowed this giant like whorehouse red that you could see. And I wouldn't say a word about it, just to see, like, you know, if anyone would mention it or what they thought the hell was going on in there. And nothing really was going on. It was just purely to screw with their, you know.
Always mess with their minds.
Yeah, exactly.
With your minds. Another question here from someone for you, Coyote. Did Renee do her own vocals on Sugar High?
Yes, I saw one of those from Ferrari. Anyway, yes, she did, and I'm actually happy to say that, because she was very afraid that she couldn't pull it off at the time. She didn't think she could. It was the first, and this is kind of an interesting thing. I'm sure you figured this out by now, Carol, but that was Renee's singing debut, period, first of all, and in a movie. And then she went on to win a Golden Globe for singing in Chicago. And she just won an Oscar for her singing role in
Judy.
Wow.
And
so what you're trying to say is that was basically thanks to you.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is that if you want overpriced singing lessons, you come talk to me. I'll sit back and say, you can do it. You can do it. I actually, you know, and just like I did with Renee, and there you go.
Great.
She did. Sorry to interrupt. She did. Not only did she sing it, but afterwards, I heard a rumor. I'm not sure if it's true, but I heard like through a third person that she was still not sure whether or not she did it or whether or not we overdubbed something. Like she was that unsure of herself. And I always wanted Renee to know that no, that was you. You did it. She fucking nailed it. Actually, she just didn't have the, you know, yet to know that she could do it.
How did you get involved with the film? Because you're a musician, and you were a musician at the time of being in the movie. So how did it come about?
That's exactly why they were looking for musicians in New York City. Well, I mean, probably other places as well. I know that they originally had Billy Joe from Green Day.
I heard that rumor.
Was either, what's that?
I heard that rumor. So that's true, huh?
I mean, as far as I know, it's true. And they couldn't get him for whatever reason and ended up with me. It's not the first film where there's other films where, you know, they had Dave Navarro lined up till the last minute and then Dave couldn't do it. So like, oh, call Coyote. You can't get the guy you want. You know.
Hey, Coyote.
It worked out pretty well.
Coyote is the second choice.
Did you offer to write Sugar High, or did they ask you to write something?
I think they wanted an original. That was something that the producers wanted. They wanted an original song. They didn't, at first anyway. They toyed with a few ideas during, you know, but they wanted an original artist, an original, you know, song that they could, you know. That's mostly the reason I did it. To be honest, I don't want to be an actor. I mean, I didn't want. I've done it a few times since then. I like it. I'll probably do it more, but I don't really care about acting. They were like, "Oh, we want your song in the movie." I was, "Oh, okay, sure, I'm interested."
And now, really, it's between that and Gin Blossoms. Those are the two iconic musical moments of the film. Like that's the song that everyone quotes to you.
I'll take that, sure.
Yes, that's right. Oh, look, Zoe's joined.
Zoe's joined us.
Hi, everybody. Happy
Zoe.
planning day.
Well, maybe that's an opportune moment since we're talking about Sugar High.
Yeah.
And we're joined by Zoe and Tyne here, who are working on the Broadway adaptation of Empire Records, which I'm super pumped about. Are you using some of the soundtrack, or are you using a song like Sugar High in the musical? What's the kind of musical link there?
I mean, it's an interesting question because the answer is that we're still making some decisions.
Okay.
But I think that the overall impulse that we have is to create an original score that honors the sound of the soundtrack
and then for certain pieces of iconic music and performance, weave those in so that like the fans get those moments that they
Right.
remember, love, crave. I was a fan of Sugar High, so
Aw,
but
thank you.
yeah, I mean, come on, it's just, why wouldn't you be? And I think it's there's something about that moment of performance. If you were ever somebody who was, I mean, I had stage fright, so like I watched that moment and I watched sort of that like energetic thing that song does that like makes you need to sing. I mean, like you just sticks with you. So I think anyway, we, you know, Time, you can speak to it more, but we're excited to bring you hopefully a whole new slew of songs that you're going to feel that way about. Awesome. But we are in the great position where we can kind of have our cake and eat it too, I think.
Right, because I think that's it. The soundtrack, we're getting a lot of questions about the soundtrack and how it was put together, because for so many people it is this intrinsic part of their DNA. They've heard it so many times. They can tell you which track is going to play next. They know all the lyrics. You know, it's a really sacred thing for Empire Records fans. So no pressure, Zoe. But
yeah, no.
My secret fantasy is that I come back and play Rex Manning.
Oh, I'm in.
Like I'm the old guy now that all the youngins make fun of. That's my secret fantasy.
Like comes
so good.
You become the man, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Which is what, honestly, that's what happens in real life, right?
It's kind of perfect circle of life. Time, let's take a few steps back to how did it even come about? An Empire Records musical, you know, we're 25 years since the film, and here's a musical that works for Broadway. How did that happen?
Well, it's kind of a funny story, actually, because there are two narratives that happen consecutively. The one that I was involved in is that Zoe and I have been collaborators and friends for a long time, and we're looking to do something together, and both discovered a mutual childhood obsession of this movie. And so actually, with the ignorance of youth, we put together a whole pitch about what an immersive Empire Records musical would look like without having the rights at all. And
like no one asked us.
No one asked us. We did not ask, but we went forth and created this dream show of ours to do the musical version of Empire Records. At the same time, unbeknownst to us, Bill, who is our producer, was leaving Regency, the company Regency, and he left with the rights to Empire Records, knowing that he wanted to make it into a musical, and he contacted Carol about it. And they went into every major agency in LA and New York and were looking for a composer, and everybody kept saying Zoe's name. And so Zoe was approached officially with the rights holders to do the actual musical. Wow. And then the universe just conspired to bring me along for the ride. So it's been a passion project for Zoe and me for a very long time. And now we get to do it officially and legally, which is really important.
Which is very important.
You can imagine what that call was like, because I think, you know, it was completely out of the blue several years later, because of course we did this pitch and then we looked at each other and we were like, oh, right, we don't have the rights. Right. And I get this call, you know, and you get calls about adaptations quite often. And often you're like, okay, great movie, but you know, not for me or whatever. And I got the call and my agent was like, are you interested in considering? And I was like, go get me that job right now. Go get me that job right now.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And when Time name ended up on the sort of top tier of directors, I actually had to kind of play it cool, because I didn't want them to think that I was angling for anything, because truly I was like, I don't want them to pick her because of me. I want them to pick her because of them. And so, I mean, Carol, you can speak to this, but I was pretty Switzerland about it.
Zoe is
if they had made the wrong decision, yes. I would not have been. Go ahead.
Zoe's very professional. And I want to say that even, you know, these two are talking about like their existing interest in it, but just in terms of like the two of them as artists and collaborators, it's really been just an amazing experience. They're just very smart, and it's like if one of us has a good idea, the other ones realize it. And so it's just been great. It's been a lot different than working in film.
We've got a lot of questions for you guys about it because people are so excited about the musical, and so far there's not a lot of info. So I'm going to go through them. I know that you might not be able to answer all of them because we might not be there, but let's try. So one person has asked how much of the musical is going to be dialogue versus songs, because I guess, you know, on Broadway, you know, it's not necessarily singing the whole time for some of the shows. Is it really musical heavy at this stage?
Zoe can say more, but I think in terms of taking dialogue and putting it into a song, we're not doing that. We're not having characters, and we're definitely not having characters sing dialogue. But in terms of taking the content of the dialogue and putting it into a song, no, we'll take the emotion behind it. You do trim a lot of dialogue, for sure. But yeah, so I don't know, Zoe, what do you think?
Yeah, that's true. And I think, you know, it won't be, it's there's sort of like a range of how, I guess, song heavy a musical can be. Something like, you know, a Rent is almost sung through, and then like something like a Dear Evan Hansen has a total of 12 songs, and ours, I would say, sits somewhere in between. What felt important was to make sure that we wrote it as if the movie didn't exist, only in terms of saying that the storytelling is strong enough and makes sense and holds up, and you believe that the characters should be singing when they're singing, even if you never saw the movie. That said, there are certain iconic lines in the film that like we want to be in the musical, and so it was important to maintain a certain amount of dialogue to give people those really important moments. It's just like not really like a Les Mis sung through kind of vibe that we're doing.
Is there a song called Damn the Man?
Hell yeah.
Right? There has to be, right? That's on the t-shirt.
That is, yeah, completely. Another question actually
Absolutely.
is, are there any characters that are going to be added or dropped for the musical? Can you
Tyne, I'm going to make you answer this question because you can be coy.
This is what I would say, much in the spirit of what Zoe is talking about, which is like every part of our production is trying to honor what people love and are so connected to in the film, but justify why it should be a stage show and doing it in the 21st century, and what does that mean. So I would say that all of the principal characters are from the movie and very much honor the movie in that way. But I would say our central figure, we riff on one of the central characters and we're changing their gender. And I'm going to leave it as a mystery as to who that is.
So many word choices in there. So intriguing.
So mysterious. Couple of questions I'll roll into one. Will the musical be taken to other countries? Is that the plan beyond America? And has the whole situation really slowed you guys down, or are you still full steam ahead?
Well, interestingly, we're in a generative stage right now. So Carol, Zoe, and I are kind of self-sufficient right now in terms of how we can work. We did have a workshop planned for the spring, which is going to have to be postponed, but it hasn't like screeched us to a halt. We're lucky about that. And yeah, absolutely. The plan would be, you know, to open in New York and then to London probably, and then hopefully a tour that extends way past those two places.
New Zealand, obviously.
Obviously.
Clearly we'd be like the second cab off the rank. It'd be
exactly
UK,
right.
And then clearly New Zealand would be
exactly
next. Yeah,
I mean, now I would say for sure.
Yeah,
right.
Great. This is what we love.
We're coming to New Zealand in like December, so we're like in the height of your summer.
Yeah. Perfect.
Feel free to bring us to New Zealand anyway. I mean, I'll come to New Zealand, sure. Anytime.
Oh, come hang out. Come hang out. We'll show you around.
Yeah. Come to the Chris Mack Mansion. He throws
the Mac Mansion is it's a glorious place, not an actual mansion.
Two-bedroom mansion.
Yeah. I put one of my daughter's sheets up behind me to create a wall. How do you like that?
What that is.
It works brilliantly.
Professional.
I think that I'm just looking at the.
Oh no, I like this question. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, great.
When you say immersive, you were talking about creating immersive. What do you mean by that?
I mean, that was what Zoe and my original pitch was. I still think that there would be, the record store is it's part of the magic of the movie is that the environment is so charged and everyone feels like they know it and you feel like you're in the record store with those people. So I think that in terms of how we would conceive of the envelope of the design of the piece, we would want the audience to feel like they're kind of in the record store with the characters. Yeah.
Someone's asked if Gua will be involved in the musical in any shape or form.
Let's be very clear.
Is Guar here with us today on the Rexstravaganza?
No.
Or did they snub us? No, they didn't. Guar had been very cool on Twitter today. I'm not.
Whoa.
Is there some beef with Guar? I didn't know about?
I think they're swell. I do not know them, and that's the thing. That is one thing that I didn't know who Guar was, and until I saw them in the movie, and so that was something that somebody came up with on set, and it's like one of the best things that has ever been added on probably any movie.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Because you have so many bad ideas and bad things that happen during the process of rewriting and making it. So that's one of the best things. That was such a smart thing to do.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, and they are in terms of, they were one of those bands that I don't know, they obviously had a following, but holy moly, did that movie do things for them as well. Suddenly, you got to, there's a lot of people that know Gua because of Empire Records and have probably nailed a few pub quizzes because of the movie.
And they have a fun feud with Ethan Embry too. In fact, the woman or person, I don't know if it's a woman, or the person who runs the Empire Records Broadway musical Twitter, which is a fan site, but it's our only site. They put up a poll today about who wins Mark versus Guar. So that poll's in process. If somebody wants
fun.
To
That's great. Okay, I think that's it for fan questions for the musical. Chris, do you have any before we say thanks to awesome guests?
I would honestly sit here and talk to you guys for another hour, but in the interest of everybody else, maybe that's good.
That's it. Okay.
Well,
thank you so much. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Truly, thank you.
Thank you very much. We can't wait to see it. Seriously.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you for having us. Happy Rex Manning Day.
Happy
Rex
Manning Day, kids.
And also to you. So Craig is on here.
Craig. Yeah.
Howdy. I actually popped in because I really quick wanted to tell you how the Guar thing came about. So what happened was there was a venue here called Mad Monk, and they got really big groups for a tiny little place, and Guar was playing while we were shooting. And Paul Curtis, one of the producer's assistant, and I'm so sorry that I don't remember the gentleman's name. He was a great guy. He actually said, you know what? I could probably take what was then a brand new digital style video camera out there and shoot something and get it into the movie. And they built it up from there. They got permission. Guar agreed. They got permission to bring Ethan out there. And of course, the fans seeing the show at the Mad Monk got to see this kid who had been in a far off place in the other movies that Ethan had appeared in come out on stage and then get eaten by a giant worm. And the footage was good enough in quality to actually get then put into the film. So there's the story of that.
That's great. That's great.
Craig, you just have, it doesn't matter what topic of the film we touch on, you have a story about it, and it's fascinating to me.
Have you introduced him by his greatest relevance to Rex Manning Day?
I think we need to, and this is it, is that, you know what, I'm going to do it via imagery.
Yeah, if you're a fan of this movie, you know Craig.
Because you know Craig. I'm just going to find the right photo. Bear with me technologically, everybody.
Yes,
we'll talk amongst ourselves. I'll say, you may know me, but you don't know me as Scruffy Quarantine Craig. But that's
there he is.
There I am. Now, this is not something I wore in the film. This was a prank we played on Maxwell Caulfield. This is a shirt that he had worn and it had gotten damaged, and it's actually split up the back, which is the only way it would have fit me because I'm a much larger guy than Maxwell. And he was going to be released, but his character was going to be seen in the back of the shot out in the store while there was action taking place in the office back behind. And he didn't need to really be there as long as somebody in a purple shirt with his similar hair was there. So they released him and they said, we're going to get a photo double in, you'll be fine. So I ran as a joke and grabbed this shirt and put it on so that when he was done changing back into his street clothes and he came to sign out with me and go home for the day, he sees me standing there in his shirt and he said, oh, what are you doing wearing that? And I said, oh, it's so exciting. I'm going to be your photo double. And I could not possibly be a worse photo double for this guy. And Max, consummate professional, does not want to be mean. Oh, great. And he signs out with me and he's kind of sickly walking towards the vehicle. And thank goodness the stand-in Jesse, who was actually photo doubling him, who looks exactly like him in the outfit, comes popping out in the real shirt and his hair all done correctly. And I said, oh, no, this is all a joke. And Max was like, oh, thank God. I didn't want to say anything. But so that's where this outfit in the picture came from. This is
the actual outfit.
This is the one that I saw. Yeah. So this is you in your Rex Manning male fan outfit waiting in line, so this was supposed to be a Rex Manning outfit. Is that right, Craig?
That's right. Yeah. What happened was this is the last day of shooting, literally the very last day of shooting. And actually Maxwell had left. Rex Manning was gone. But they said, we're going to beef up we had extras. And they said, we're going to beef up the autograph line. We're going to get a few more shots of the autograph line. So I ran to wardrobe and said, do you have anything I could wear to stand out in the autograph line? And they said, well, actually, we have something that he didn't wear. And they gave me this outfit. And you can see here, you don't see it in the movie, but I actually even have two-tone blue suede shoes on.
Love it.
And I put it on and I ran to hair and they did my hair up. And it's actually sprayed with gold streaks and tips, but you can't really see the gold. But it is up as high as my short hair would go. And then I went to Alan Moyle and said, would you like me to be in the autograph line? And he said, oh, yes. Yes, we definitely want you. And here we are together moments later. And he had the camera, the bit where I'm interacting with the girl's makeup. She and I came up with that on set as the camera passed by. And then he had the camera focus in on me. And that's the famous shot of the guy fluttering as Rex kisses his ring to the crowd.
It's so iconic. I love it. It's always a highlight of the movie, right?
It was talk from the editing department that I wasn't going to make it because if you actually look carefully, literally the shot before you see me, I'm not in the shot. It's one of the earlier shots from earlier in the movie. And the editing department was having a real issue with the blooper of, mixing a shot without me to a shot of me. But in the end, I guess they decided they wanted that guy in there. So
I've actually seen you as like a meme today, Craig, in the Rex Manning Day.
Well, I have been a GIF or GIF, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And two other things about that real quick. The Maxwell Caulfield did not know that was happening, did not know that when he kissed his ring that he probably remembered doing when he acted, he had no idea that the reaction shot was going to cut to me. So that had to surprise him the first time he saw it. I hope it did. And then that they gave me a cast credit was something I did not expect. And that was a wonderful thing too.
Oh, you're an absolute, when we did our minute by minute podcast, you were an absolute highlight, Craig. So yeah, I'm glad.
Greg was awesome for like 3 months.
Totally.
Oh, thank you.
This is it, because not only were you the fan, you were also running around as the production assistant. So you were wrangling people like Coyote, who, as you can see, needs a lot of wrangling.
Lot of wrangling, yes.
Stop moving.
No.
Well, they hired me as what's called the first team PA, and that means that I coordinated the actors through makeup, hair, and wardrobe and send them to set as needed. And so I did kind of have to, wrangle all of those wild kids, of which Mr. Shivers was certainly one of them. And I have a couple of stories about him, but I don't know if I can share them.
Oh, we've got plenty of time. We got plenty of time if that's the issue.
We've got, in fact, let's pull up a little photo. Let's just share a little morsel.
There you are.
Of you two together.
This is one of the store bags that I kept. It's in my scrapbook. There is me and Coyote together on set. He's having a tasty cigar. Another black and white shot of me. A shot. I'm not sure what Liv's doing down the bottom right, but
well, you know what? Is that on set or is that on the yacht?
No, this is on set. This is right off near craft service.
I was smoking cigars on set.
Yeah, what yacht?
What yacht?
All right.
Yeah, I didn't make it on the yacht.
No, there was, the party I'm talking about, right, Craig?
The only party I got to actually attend was Alan's Halloween party.
Okay, well then this isn't it then. There was some, yeah.
And upper right there is a different Corey outfit that wardrobe was trying out. It was more of a tennis dress than the schoolgirl outfit.
That's,
and that's
yeah.
the Polaroid they have.
It's like in retrospect that, yeah, it's like that wouldn't have, it's, but then if she had worn it, it might have worked fine. Somebody put today how the character's name was originally Rex Diamond. And somebody else was like, oh, no, that's terrible. It has to be Rex Manning. And I was like, I tweeted, no, I stand by it.
I'm still laughing that I was walking around smoking a cigar on
Rex
set.
Diamond?
That's hilarious.
Yeah. If we had been calling it Rex Diamond Day all this time, then Rex Manning Day would sound like a terrible name. So
Rex Diamond is great.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine. Yeah.
Obviously, the most important thing, though, for Liv's character was the legs. I mean, obviously, every outfit they had for involved.
Yeah, they should have got credited on their own. It should have been Liv Tyler's legs.
Liv Tyler's legs. What about Liv's stepdad? I see that Coyote Shivers in brackets Liv's stepdad is on the photo here. Coyote, do you want to talk about that for people that don't know what the hell was going on?
She was my stepdaughter at the time. Yeah. Which, was, the producers didn't know that when they cast me.
Really?
That was one thing they had when they also didn't know that Renee Zellweger and Rory Cochrane were lovers at the time.
Yeah.
Well,
they lived together, so everyone got quote unquote introduced, but they knew each other.
That's funny.
That's funny.
And there was I had actually lied when I went in for the audition, said I was like 3 years younger than I was. So then I had to fess up with a little bit with that too,
Well, was Liv 17 when she filmed it? So would you have been technically like a guardian on set? Is that how it was?
I believe. If I recall correctly, it was that one or another film. I think so. Yeah, it was actually. Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
Twofer.
Yeah. So responsible of you.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Because what? This is 25
Liv's
years
mom
ago.
was there part of the time, but not all of the time. And yeah, I mean, we didn't ever really. Liv was kind of on her own. She was 17. She didn't really need a lot of.
Yeah, of course.
No, it's just
basically I just said, Craig, handle it.
Yeah, exactly.
Craig, someone asked, were you involved in
keep an eye on her.
Correct, Manning. Were you part of that at all?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Were you involved? This is a question from the comments. Involved in the music video shoot for Rex Manning at all?
No, they had shot that before we were still in rehearsals back at the studio, letting the actors get their chemistry to jibe, which we did for several weeks. And that involved playing around on the record store set and doing the Eminem thing for real with music choices and doing all kinds of things, team building and as they would call it now in a corporate structure, to get the kids to have their chemistry. And a group, Twinkle Dune Productions, and I'm sorry guys in Wilmington if I said the production name wrong, but I think it was Twinkle Dune Productions, was a local production house, and they went out to Wrightsville Beach, which is where everybody's condos were, and shot that video one weekend, Saturday or Sunday, in about 3 hours, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's something else where I don't know why I'm impressed with something where I feel like that was better than it had to be. It's like felt like they did a really nice job with the song. I love it when I on my first movie too, a couple of the song titles that I just wrote in, people actually wrote songs for those song titles, and I love it. They kept my song title. They knew it was the French Amour, and they wrote words in French. I was very
amazing.
Happy. Yeah.
And it's a full 4.5-minute song music video. Like they didn't just do snippets.
Yeah.
They
didn't have to. They just, I think they just wanted to. Yeah.
They did. Yeah. They were told we need 30 seconds or something. And once they got out there, they were having so much fun, and they are creative guys, those guys that ran that production house. And of course, Maxwell's, up for the game. So they just, like you said, they shot the entire thing. And what that did was it actually gave the editors then the entirety of the video to pick shots from. So, which
is cool. Yeah. Really important question.
Very important.
Being pushed. Do you know the one I'm talking about, Chris? You asked.
I do. No, look, it has to be handled with a lot of delicacy because it is a very hefty, it's very important question. A lot of the fans are wanting to know this. What snacks do they have at craft services?
What do you remember, Coyote?
Oh, about what?
Craft service. How was the craft service for you?
That was a question. it was okay, right, Craig? I think it was fine.
Yeah.
It was good.
It was
No, we're gonna need
good.
some details. I'm sorry. I'm gonna press you on this.
I was there for 3 months, and I can't think of a time I complained. So that is actually kind of really good review.
Yeah,
Okay,
it was
great.
always stuff. That was always good stuff. I'll tell you the 2 best craft service stories real quick.
Yes.
One time, Liv was going to be shooting the scene where she strips down, at least partially. And she begged the assistant directors, who were my bosses, not to do it on the scheduled day, because it was approaching on the call sheet. You could see it, that scene's coming up. And yet we get to the day and they're like, your scene's like 2 scenes away where you're going to strip. And she was like, oh, I'm not ready. I'm grossly fat. I have to do a whole bunch of dieting and exercise. And the ADs were like, well, you knew this was coming, but all right, we'll push it. So they actually somehow pushed the scene. So it is a major thing to move a scene, rip it bodily out of the day it's supposed to shoot on and move it a week down the road. But they did it for her. And not an hour later, one of the ADs wanders off set to go get a bite to eat at the craft service table and sees Liv pounding cookies. Oh, he was mad.
That's the special diet that she was talking about.
Yeah, exactly. She wasn't specific.
Exactly.
I've been rocking that diet for a couple of days now. It's going great. Great.
So what I wanted to say, Jason singled that question out because it came from a friend of his. So what I want to take a minute to do is say happy birthday to Sarah. Oh, I got to get the name right though. Katie Wolfson. That's my personal.
Happy birthday, Katie.
Happy birthday,
Katie.
And then somebody asked, Haley has more questions where she said, who's Rex Manning modeled after? And I think that I probably modeled it after David Cassidy, because it was someone who had been in a television show and was sort of that kind of, hurt his reputation, made him seem a lot more bubblegum than he was. And that was the history of Rex Manning also. But I think the name I probably took from Rex Smith, because that was someone, and he went on to do the Pirates of Penzance and do really well on Broadway. Yes. He was a pop star when I was like 12 and very cute. And so that was my first kind of like pop star crush. And then after that, it was Rick Springfield, but I don't know that I don't think there's much Rick Springfield in Rex, but yeah, I would say I got the name from Rex Smith and sort of based it on David Cassidy.
We've actually got a whole bunch of fan questions again for you, Carol, that have been coming through. Okay. So I'm trying to figure out.
Let's bring Haley back.
Yeah, let's bring Haley back in. And can anyone, while Haley's coming back, can you tell if Coyote's got a guitar in there for us?
Yeah, Coyote, you got the guitar?
What's that? So are you calling me again?
Yeah, do you?
Sorry, I was in the West Wing there dealing with.
Of course.
We're just going to run through questions with Carol, and then are you able? Is that a guitar? Are you going to sing a little ditty for us?
I have the only guitar I've ever owned in my entire life.
All right.
It's the one I played in that movie.
We're gonna talk to Carol real quick. We've got some questions. Then we're going straight to you for the close.
Yeah.
The big close.
Okay, hang on. Tell the kids though, and then after the close,
I know we've actually got 2 other things.
Tell the kids though to get your little your and Netflixes and everything ready, because there's a bunch of people for the hashtag. What is it? Sunday Movie Tweedle SMTA hashtag, and they're all gonna press play at the same time and watch the movie at the same time, and tweet to each other and
great. Yeah. Okay. So Haley, question time.
Okay, Haley, go.
Do you think the actors suited the characters they played? Any that you envisioned differently?
It's like once they get the part, it's difficult to sort of go back. I think Corey, I would say, was a little bit edgier. Liv Tyler's very sweet, so that comes through. Gina she did need to be sort of lovable, like inherently lovable, like Renee Zellweger. And I think with AJ, that I had written him older, and it was just someone that they really wanted to cast who wasn't as old as the character. So you hear him say, my rent was raised, and it's like, does he look old enough to be renting? Well, yeah, okay, he's renting.
Yeah, right.
He's not a high school kid, even if he looks like one. So
yeah.
Okay, so Carol, you told me that you didn't know for a really long time that people liked the movie.
Yeah. Talk
about that.
Yeah, because I wasn't really, social media, first of all, wasn't there. And then when it was there, I wasn't on Twitter much to start with. And then also I would never have searched anything for Empire Records. Everything that had been printed, put down, spread about Empire was negative, bad reviews, everything. And so this was all I knew. I'm not going to look for that. I'm not going to look it up and just have people say mean things about it. And and it gets in your head, and you sort of think about all the things that, didn't work about it. But then I did find out, I went to a screening that Ethan Embry was there, and he was like, no, you need to go check Twitter, and Rex Manning Day is coming up. And so I started paying attention then, and then I would do periodic searches for it. It's like, people, I found out that it had people who, it's like, if you have one person who says this was a very important movie to me when I was a teenage girl, it's like, that's a big deal.
It's amazing.
Yeah. That's so just knowing that and having, more than one person have said that now. So yeah, it's been really nice. And it's changed how I think about it. And then the musical comes along, and I get to, sort of do a do-over and do it in a new way. So it's everything about Empire has just, gotten infinitely better in the past few years. But yeah, I probably didn't watch the movie for like 15 years.
Wow, that's crazy. That just, you know what? Because there was a summer I watched that movie on VHS every day, all summer, and I know that story is the same for a lot of people. So
I was the same as Carol. I hadn't watched it for forever. I didn't see the film until like a few years ago, when the night that there was the quote unquote reunion thing, where it was basically Ethan and Johnny and Kiva, a bunch of them. I got a call. Either Ethan or Johnny called me up and was like, "Oh, this thing is going on, this outdoor screening of Empire Records. You want to come?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And we went, and we were heckling ourselves, and people started turning around and realizing that the people who were making fun of the movie were the people in the movie. And so I think Ethan tweeted it or something, and that sort of went kind of, and that's when I realized, like, wow, it was way more popular now than it was at the time.
Yeah.
And that's the first time also I saw it for the first time all the way through, because I never sat through it.
Yeah, and that was just, you don't have to put it back up, but that was just a picture of a different screening we had with the Q&A at BuzzFeed. Right. It was a lot of fun. Alan, it's so nice to see Alan, and we tried to get a hold of him for this, and we just don't have his contact information. So
yeah,
he's a great presence to have. So
now,
next year.
Before we go,
oh, you're on the phone. Never mind. That is my phone. I was gonna say, let's just fucking call him now. That is my phone right there. Never mind. I have his contact info anyway, or at least from a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I do have it, but last time I tried it didn't work.
Before we go, there's a few things we have to do before we get to your song, Coyote. We need to go through. We've had some fan submissions of art and costumes and that kind of thing. And I know Jason is standing by. If we could cross to our beautiful assistant, Jason, who has the prize to demonstrate. Hopefully awesome. He's going to jump on video.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, what are we giving away?
Glorious Empire Records soundtrack on double LP yellow vinyl. Records
amazing.
Limited exclusive. The best thing of all time on vinyl. Simple
amazing. Okay, so let's get to it. These are some of the best fan submissions we've had in terms of dress up and art. I've kind of lumped it all together.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, the stance alone, she pulls the pose off perfectly. That's Ellie Girl 1029.
Yeah, and if I can tell you about Gina costumes, this is very accurate. And so it's like, I'm impressed when they do the outfit that she wore for most of the movie, because sometimes they do the apron with the bra underneath, which is bold, but this is harder to really match the top and the skirt and the shoes. So.
And the shoes, the shoes are on. Nailed it.
Here's another one with, I mean, shout outs to the Mark stenciled shoplifter t-shirt.
Shoplifter.
Shoplifter.
I think that's our friends from Philadelphia.
Oh.
I think South Street made those shirts.
Oh, that's awesome. South Street Art Mark. Shout out to them. They also made our image that we've been using to promote it. Those guys are awesome.
Yeah, those guys are great.
From Crooked Matt, who we're not sure whether Crooked Matt made these or invested in them, but nevertheless amazing.
Burko's got a guitar.
Yep. Well, that makes sense. He had a guitar in every scene of the movie, pretty much. So.
And then, yeah, this is all perfect.
Yeah. A cake.
Oh, yes, please.
Well, what better thing to do in quarantine than bake? This is from a couple of years ago, apparently, from More Alyssa and her friends. There's nice to see Rex Manning getting it dressed up. Yeah.
It's a very good Corey skirt and very good Rex Manning shirt.
Yeah.
And Lucas is, well, I think Lucas is easy for the most part. So let's see what it takes to be impressive dressing as Lucas, maybe.
This is some great fan art.
We mustn't dwell.
Not today. Not on Rex Manning Day. This is, we're trying to figure out if these are actual members of the band Gua or like people dressed up, but either way, that's impressive. And then we've got a Corey and a Gina hanging out in the back.
Yeah, that's great.
That's pretty cool. This is Veronica pulling her best Corey, which just to show how much people love dressing as Corey.
Wow. I mean, it's an iconic costume.
Totally, right?
Outfit.
Now, Lucas, you're mentioning Lucas Carroll.
Yeah.
Sin Nicole has really outdone the Lucas impressions. But I love the couch cushion.
Yeah.
And I don't know if she's here with us today, but I'd like to, just go ahead and give her the first double LP, right?
Yeah, it's great. It's so great.
That's well deserving.
Very deserving.
Yeah.
On the podcast that Chris and I do, we talked about Rex Manning looking a lot like Donald Trump and also a Cheeto. And so Claire, who is one of our listeners, made us this art, which is literally Rex Manning as a Cheeto.
It's breathtaking.
It's just phenomenal.
Yeah,
gorgeous.
I will say, Claire and I, full disclosure, Claire and I are Facebook friends now, but if she and her wife do not already have the double album, that we should send them one.
Okay, great.
Absolutely. I would love for them to have that.
Speaking of, I'm going to fast forward a little bit to her wife's fan art that she submitted of Mark.
Which is great.
Yes, which is kind of awesome too, yeah.
Yeah, she said that she sucks at drawing humans. Jules, I don't think so.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Yeah. I like this because Joe never gets fan art. But yeah, but here he is. This is one from Tangria, who she literally just drew this randomly as a costume that she'd love to wear. And it's a really cool Corey.
Yeah.
It's really good.
And then finally, ending on a dance.
Brilliant.
How good, right?
Yeah.
And you know what? Just while we're going through fan quarantine, there's a few fans that have been doing stuff on quarantine. So this is how you can celebrate Rex Manning Day from quarantine. This is from Catastrophe Watson. Really just
that's very good. Can we send them a prize?
Yeah, we can. I think best quarantine.
Yeah, that's really great.
Catastrophe.
Smart.
Sorry, don't mind me, guys. I'm just writing stuff down. This is another way to celebrate migraine in the time of coronavirus or deep sleep.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, nothing like an uplifting way to celebrate. Good to see some
yeah.
Stay indoors.
Hands are for washing, baby. Yeah.
Yeah. Did I?
I'm doing that today.
Did I send you a video of the woman shaving her head with the? Oh, it has the Martini song behind it, so we can't show it.
Right.
Can't show it.
Shaved her head today, was amazing. It's like these women, you worry about how it's going to come out, and they look amazing when they're done.
These ones, yes.
Yeah.
These are great. I mean,
quality.
Me in quarantine.
It's just anything that makes me laugh when I'm stuck here doing nothing like this. Yeah.
Totally.
Sure.
Totally. Quarantine. That's it.
Yeah.
I remember this. We'll probably remember fondly, those of us who are blessed, will remember fondly, right? And say like, oh, I remember quarantine. Like,
100%.
What's that? Yeah, right. You remember that? You know, we're just hanging out, you know.
So before we go,
real quick, I'm sorry guys, I'm just going to hijack
Please.
for just a second because I wanted to show that I do have one of the buttons from the set that was actually created. It's blah. This
that's
actually
epic.
this was punched.
Show
right
your
on.
Renee thing, Craig.
Yeah, we got that.
Right
We got
here.
I
that.
got it.
And
It's pretty cool.
I also do work here, so
I like
the
it.
department gave us all one of these, which was very nice of
That's
them.
awesome.
But
So-
yes, but this is
So behind you,
there,
I was
but
even impressed with that when I saw that. I thought, like, geez, like that's really cool. I wish I had that of everybody.
No
Yeah.
kidding. Sarah, can you? Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Sorry. There you go.
So Interview Magazine put this out, an article on her because she was making splashes even before she had gotten on set with us. And I bought a copy and asked her to sign it. And this is what she put down for me, marking it as her first ever autographed picture, which I'm very honored to have.
it's
Yeah,
amazing.
that's so cool. She was a sweetheart. So, but that's so cool.
This is him in character, and he wanted to make sure to mention that he's wearing a lot of makeup in the inscription. That's why it says more makeup for Dave Edna. And Debbie Mazar, the incredibly beautiful and wonderful Debbie Mazar, adored her.
And she's just recovered from COVID.
I heard that today. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Crazy. So yay, thank gosh, not Jane. They can't take Jane, guys. Okay, so before we go, we're gonna have a song from you, Cody. And actually, a few people have asked about Sugar High. And
Oh yes. Well, you know, it's Rex Manning Day, so every Rex Manning Day, somebody pulled me out to play this. I should be in Hawaii again once again to my Hawaiian friends out there. I will see you shortly. And before, I have to get into this. Roger Taylor is the man who gave me the string here that saved the night because I didn't have one. I couldn't find it. So I put it on Facebook and ended up with a string.
Awesome.
Mr. Roger Taylor. Who made
Thank you, Roger
this
Taylor.
song. So thank you. So what They all said she's just another drinking slut. And I said I thought you were anything but think again. Sometimes reputations outlive their applications. Sometimes fires don't go out when you're done playing with them. I feel so funny deep inside when I kiss you goodbye, sugar high. Sugar high. We could go out and not even leave the house. The quarantine verse. Hang on, let's start that one again. Quarantine verse. We could go out and not even leave the house. A TV set and a bottle of wine. Just fine. Making out on that old pull-out couch. Watching Saturday Night Live. I guess that's why I feel so funny deep inside. When I look between your sugar high. All right. Happy Rex Man Day, kids. And I have searched both far and wide I've explored deepest caverns of my mind to try and find an explanation why I get this funny feeling deep inside when you kiss me goodbye. And when I lift between your sugar high, sugar high, sugar high.
Very good.
Yeah, so good.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So remember to synchronize their startings there for the kids on the Twitter thing. Yeah. Good night, kids.
Yes.
Thank you, Coyote.
Thank you so much, Coyote. Thank you so much, everyone who has made this happen. What a treat.
Yeah. We've got to thank Carol Heikkinen, first of all, for creating Empire Records and creating today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys.
Coyote Shivers, of course. Thank you to Craig Edwards, who joined us today as the male expanding fan and man who knows all of the dodgy stories that went on behind the scenes. Zoe Sanek and Tyne Rafali. I think, Tyne, I hope I got your name right. The two amazing women in conjunction with Carol working on Empire Records, the musical. Jason Feinberg, our beautiful assistant. Thank you so much for making all of the tech side of this happen and more.
Yes, amazing.
Haley, our helper, for reading through all the comments, looking at all the submissions. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Haley.
We couldn't have done that without you. Also, thanks to the South Street Art Mart girls for putting together our image that we use, our promo image, and supporting us. You guys are awesome. And so a big thank you also to the Empire Records Instagram and Movieverse Instagram guys for supporting this as well. Also, if you have no idea who Chris and I are, we have a podcast called Empire Records Minute, the podcast, and we go through the film minute by minute and really dissect it. And at some point, we actually interview Carol as well. So feel free to come and join it. We would love to have you join us. And other than that, I think that's us, right, Chris? We're out.
That's it. That is it. Anything more would be gilding the lily.
No, I've got one more thing that Jason really wanted me to mention, because a lot of people have been asking, why is Sugar High the film version not on the soundtrack, which is a whole story unto itself, but you can get it on Spotify. If you go listen to the album, the Empire Records soundtrack album on Spotify, you can find the movie version there apparently, and worth listening to the album in all its glory, because man, it's good. It's good.
It's good. Yeah.
That's it.
Thank you, guys.
Do you want to play us out, Chris? Do you want to play us out with your song?
Oh, jeez. Okay, hang on.
Happy Rex Manning Day, everybody.
Rex Manning Day.
Good. You're done?
Is it?
Yeah, the stream is done.
Stream's done.